All right, guys. Yesterday I watched about 5 of Ilia Topuria's fights. Not Ilia, excuse me. Charles Oliveira's fights. From the fight when, like in, I don't know, over 10 years ago, he fights Max Holloway. Max was 22 at the time. Oliveira was 25. To him fighting during COVID. Oliveira fought Tony Ferguson. Brutal ass fight. He dominated Tony Ferguson. Almost broke his arm. He got him in an arm bar and Tony wouldn't tap. Tony's arm would have snapped, but it was towards the end of the round, so Tony got saved by the bell. It was during COVID. You could hear Tony Ferguson, like the little nuances. It made me go back to UFC during COVID when no audience, fighting at the Apex, and you could hear Tony Ferguson's, like, his reaction to having his arm caught up in a submission. He's like, ah! It's very, very interesting. It was actually, yeah, it was interesting. And Oliveira's fight against Poirier to Gaethje, his fight against, what's that dude's name? Arman Sazukian. Arman won. It was only a 3-round fight. Probably should have been a 5-rounder. I was watching Topuria's fight against Josh Emmett, and that was a 5-round fight. And Emmett was 5, and at the time, Topuria was ranked number 9 in that division. I don't know why it was a 5-round fight. I think because it was a main event on UFC Fight Night. But it was Sarukian versus Charles Oliveira, and then obviously the Makhachev fight versus Oliveira. I want to say it was the beginning of the 2nd round or 3rd round when Makhachev versus Oliveira. Makhachev, again, since he's southpaw, he does a good job with a right hook with his jab hand, which is right. He throws it a lot. You'll see him, especially if just off of instinct, he does it a lot. He's very technical with everything he does, Makhachev. So I'm gonna just bounce around, guys. I'm gonna digress, or kind of go. I'm gonna do the weave, as President Donald Trump would say. So that's the difference. Makhachev, very technical. He was outboxing Oliveira by being technical, catching him on counters. Makhachev's very good. And you know, Charles Oliveira, when I watched the fight when he was a young Oliveira, you could tell when he was 25 when he was fighting Max Holloway, and it was only like it only lasted to the 1st round. It's unfortunate they never fought again. Oliveira had Max Holloway up against the fence. He tried to go for a takedown. Pretty much hurt his arm. It was the last 10 seconds of the round. He had Max up against the fence. Max gets out. Oliveira literally just like put his whatever shoulder was dislocated, he put the opposite hand on that shoulder, and he kind of just fell to the ground. He didn't give up or nothing. He just fell to the ground. He was gonna like let Max just beat him up until they called the fight off. But I think the ref came in and stopped it real quick and just called the fight off. That was unfortunate. But that was the same Oliveira, the same sort of hands up like this, throwing that little front kick to the body. Same sort of boxing style. Obviously much smaller at 25. He was a lot less thicker than he is now. He's not the thickest now, but he's solid now. But the same sort of wild man fighting style, you know. He throws in the knees, he does the clinch, throws knees in the clinch. Obviously has a good ground game, a great ground game. He has the body for a ground game. When I was watching Topuria fight Josh Emmett, it was not till the 5th round. The whole fight, the whole first 4 rounds, Topuria was just outstriking Josh Emmett. And man, Josh Emmett is just a tough dude. And Topuria being strong and just very skillful himself, constantly having to use his jab to keep Josh Emmett off him, keep Josh Emmett at bay. He beat up Josh Emmett. He didn't end up knocking him out or nothing because Josh Emmett's hard to put out, but he dropped him multiple times. And then towards the end of the 4th round and even throughout the 5th round, both of them were pretty tired, but Josh Emmett was kind of going off that heart. Like, yes, like even though I was getting beat up, I'm a dog, I can still keep going. That no quit attitude, I think, was driving Josh Emmett. And it was a pro-American crowd, I believe. They were chanting USA and stuff. He heard Topuria chants as well. I don't remember where it was at, but anyway, Josh Emmett seemed to be kind of, he was tired still, but then you could see Topuria slowing down, but Topuria was using his jab a lot, you know? He was just constantly using his jab. And then he decides to take down Josh Emmett. And obviously it's the 5th round, maybe he's tired. But definitely Topuria is boxing first. He's a boxing first guy. He did use some ground game when he got kicked by Jai Herbert, because Jai Herbert kicked him, knocked him down. Kind of did some unintelligent things, allowed Topuria to stay alive. Topuria grabbed him, put him up against the fence, and sort of took him down towards the end of the round. And that showed some good grappling skill. But definitely he's not going to be up there when it comes to the submission game, when it comes to the type of submission game that Oliveira has. The way he had Josh Emmett, like the way he had him down, was kind of more of a wrestling. It wasn't like a skillful, like a skillful jiu-jitsu guy on the ground, you know, like a snake or like a fucking scorpion. He doesn't have the body type for it. He's short, he's a little thicker. I mean, Oliveira has the body type of a jiu-jitsu guy, you know, like thicker on top and like skinny legs, but probably still strong on the hips, you know. It was the 5th round. He was tired. He's fighting a huge guy like Josh Emmett, not tall, but just thick and like a fucking meathead, you know, a fucking thick neck guy and fat head, just a beast. So it was definitely a tough fight for Topuria. He's been in some tough fights, you know, believe it or not. He was taking some jabs from Max Holloway as well, but again, like Topuria reminds me of a Makhachev, where they're just technical, very technical. They're gonna be patient. They're gonna use skill. They're gonna counter you. They're gonna counter on your mistakes. And obviously, Makhachev, when he fought Oliveira, the first 2 rounds, he out-wrestled him. He out-grappled him against the fence. When it comes to Oliveira, he's a good wrestler too. He's very strong, but he's a wild man. He's not the best at the trips, you know, the way these Dagestani guys know how to trip you when you're up against the fence. And that's what happened to Oliveira with Makhachev, I think, in the end of the 1st or end of the 2nd round, the round before he gets knocked out. He did an awesome leg trip and brought Oliveira to the ground. Believe it or not, Oliveira, he was still a threat on his back, but Makhachev is just very strong. He's not going to make mistakes. And again, maybe at the end of the round, Oliveira comes and tries to do like this random knee, sort of like a tired attempt at a knee. And I think Makhachev might have missed with the left and just clipped him at the very end. He falls. And again, he's tired at this time because of the wrestling. So Oliveira is tired. Makhachev is smart, just jumps on him right away. Instead of trying to do a ground and pound, he jumps on him, puts his body in a perfect position to get that choke on him. I can't remember what kind of choke. It's pretty much the choke like this. He's on top of you. He just chokes you from here, like in your arms, like trapped under his arm, and just your legs. So, and he just squeezed him, and he kind of brought his Makhachev kind of sweeped his body over here. So we're like, he's now kind of perpendicular to the head of, like his body's on his sides choking you, but now his legs are over here. Like his hips and his head are parallel on the side, perpendicular to Oliveira's head, and he just chokes him anyway. You've seen the fight. I thought it was actually like a 1st round finish, but no, it did show Makhachev's ability to stay, you know, to stay patient, to stay technical when his boxing skill. And he would definitely strike when he had to. He would find openings. He was very smart. And the difference is Makhachev's bigger than Topuria. And I know that Topuria knocked out Volkanovski, but is Topuria stronger than Volkanovski when it comes to wrestling? They never really grappled each other. Because I remember when it came to wrestling with with Makhachev and Volkanovski, Volkanovski was hard to wrestle. It was hard to sort of keep down, and even the choke out, and that was a big deal, right? That was a big deal because everybody was thinking that Makhachev was going to just take him down, choke him out, ground and pound, get him, and just choke him out, how the Dagestani guys kind of do. And Volkanovski's conditioning, his stamina, kind of kept up, you know. Makhachev wasn't able to dominate him that first fight. Because when it comes to Topuria and Oliveira, I don't know. We're going to see who's going to back up who. Who's going to be able to back up who. Of course, Topuria is going to get his boxing in, but is he going to be able to break that distance with the taller guy? He struggled against Jai Herbert, but again, he just had that pressure on Jai Herbert. He applied the pressure, and Topuria gets in gunfights, believe it or not. Watch the Josh Emmett fight. Topuria is willing to get in gunfights, and that's what it is. You might throw one or two, even if you connect on him, he's already thinking throw four. So you might have hit him on the end of your combo, but there's like two coming after that. Very skillful in boxing. And certain things, I think, in the Josh Emmett fight, he threw a lot more punches, a lot more than the fights against the ones that have brought him here to this point, against Volkanovski and Max Holloway. And so he's sort of more intelligent and more skillful and more knowledgeable on when to throw these punches, sort of how to position himself in a fight, how to press a guy a little more. So it's sort of his ability to apply that pressure and throw at the right time, and to sort of rush in and explode at the right time when he sees a gap between punches and combinations, or maybe he figures guys out a lot quicker. See, these are things that we don't really know as people who are just fans watching it. But these guys know, oh, she already figured me out. And just by looking in the eyes, they might even be speaking, you know? So I watched just one of Topuria versus Josh Emmett. I watched a bunch of Oliveira's fights. So Oliveira, he's very smart with his boxing too. He could take a punch, and so can Topuria. Topuria has a good he has really great boxing defense. We're gonna see who backs up. Who's gonna be the one on their back foot? Most fights there is a guy that ends up backing the other one up at least a little bit. If it goes to the ground, what's gonna happen? I've seen fights where both guys get a little bit tired at the end. I've seen both guys be able to, that Arman Suzuki guy, he was just strong. So when he would take Oliveira down, he would ground and pound him and keep him there. When it came to boxing, I think Oliveira had maybe the advantage against Arman Suzuki, but he was just getting out-wrestled. So are we going to see Topuria's wrestling? Is he as good as Arman and Makhachev at wrestling? Or I think it might be a boxing thing, but then what happens is Oliveira going to have Topuria up against the fence? We hardly see Topuria up against the fence in some clinch positions. Definitely some knees will be coming. And you got Oliveira's kicks. Oliveira throws that front kick to the body. He's good at throwing kicks to the side of the head. He throws elbows. He goes with flying knees. He puts you up against the fence. He'll take you down. But then you have the boxing Topuria, who just applies the pressure. Really good with his calf kicks. Really good with his calf kicks. He uses that like a jab. Very good with his jab. Just good boxing skill in general. So I think Oliveira should probably focus on maybe just making it a grimy fight. But the thing is, if Oliveira, just how he got caught with against Islam Makhachev, and that's why I guess I brought up the idea of the technicality and the boxing skill and just the intelligence of Makhachev, which sort of won him the fight, but his wrestling skill as well against Oliveira. If Oliveira, allows an opening and in a firefight, he could get caught. He could get caught by Topuria. So it's just intriguing. It's an intriguing fight. Remember, Topuria's going up in weight. There's some questions they asked, I heard some guys say, when they stepped up in weight, they realized the same punch that would have hurt a guy in the weight class you were in before. Now that you're jumping up, doesn't hold the same power that it does. Topuria seems confident that he's different than the rest, and yeah, we'll see. But again, Oliveira's experience at this game, man. He grew up in the UFC. And another interesting thing is that Topuria just knocked out Max Holloway. And these are two guys that had crossed paths a long time ago, Max Holloway and Oliveira. Just Max never made a career at this weight class, just 155, I believe. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it.